Hello all, and welcome to another episode of Know Your Champion. This time we're taking a look at Lex Luthor, the greatest mind of our time. Now, a lot of people compare this character, this champion, to... I've never played League of Legends, so I'm probably saying this wrong. Heimendinger? I don't know, something like that. So, he's kind of like that character in the sense that they both deploy sentries, and that's pretty much all I know about it. Now, let's start off with his passive here. Every time you drop a sentry, it's going to link to another sentry that's close. Now, that link does damage. It also will apply the buffs of these two skills to every turret that's in the link. So, if you want to buff two turrets that you have currently out and they are unlinked, drop the third turret and then buff it, and it'll buff all the turrets that are linked together. So, using sentry consumes a charge. A charge is generated every 12 seconds. 3 charges can be stored. A maximum of 3 sentries can be active at a time. Now, you can just keep one sentry out the whole time. You don't need to put all 3 of them out. I would only put all 3 of them out in a team fight, or if you're going to like try to defend, like make a wall and link them all together and then buff them up with these 2 skills. So let's talk about these 2 skills right here. Now, the way these skills can be used is either on a champion or on a sentry. So if you use this skill on a champion, on an enemy, it stuns them for 1 second and deals damage over time. So this is his best offensive skill that you can also use defensive. So you can use this for escapes. You can use this to engage, like if your jungler's coming into the lane, you could toss this on them to get that little stun off. Also, what this does is it heals your sentries when you use it. It resets the duration of them. So they are placed for 16 seconds. Deploys a sentry for 16 seconds, correct. Alright, so you toss this down, and say your turret's about to disappear in like 5 seconds. If you hit this turret with this skill, it resets. It also gets healed. So, each turret takes 2 basic attacks to take down. That's regardless of damage. So it's 2 basic attacks. If you drop it in the range of a turret, it's 1 turret attack to take it down. Now, you can toss this out. Well, you could toss this out first and then put the sentry down. Because of this animation, I would say this animation is more like Atomic Joker's Banana Toss, where it kind of goes up in the air for a second and then comes down. So you can place the sentry directly and then just hit that. Also talking about the health, because of the animation when it goes up in the air and comes down, you can do this between basic attacks on the enemy. Most of the time, unless they have an insane attack speed, they're gonna do basic attack, then you can throw your W, then their next basic attack is gonna come in. you have to time this correctly, and if you can't get in range of your turret that you want to heal, you can drop another one closer to you and then heal that one, and that one will allow you to heal the one that's out of range. Now, you have this third one, and this is his best offensive skill in terms of the turrets. You can buff one single turret with this skill, and it's going to just melt somebody. If you have all three of them buffed, it's just brutal. Then, from there, you can also use this on enemies as well. And it's just a standard skill shot that, it doesn't penetrate enemies, but it penetrates drones. So you can shoot it over drones to hit the enemy, or you can shoot it over drones to hit your turret. It will not hit both of them. So like it consumes itself when it hits something. So if it hits the enemy, it is going to hit the enemy. It's not going to go through the enemy and hit the turret. The same thing with this skill too. If you throw this down and say that an enemy is standing on top of your turret and you want to reset the duration of that turret as well as stun the enemy, that's not going to work. It's only going to stun the enemy. It's not going to hit the turret. So it has priority over the enemies first, I believe. So if you fire your E at an enemy and they're standing on top of your turret, you're just going to hit the enemy. You're not going to hit the turret. Your sentry, rather. Standard buff makes all the sentries fast, deal 30 power damage and attacks 100% faster. So you kind of want to use this if they run up on you. Also, when you buff this one, the next basic attacks, the next 3 attacks from the sentry slow them. So you get 3 attacks that do more damage with this one, or 3 attacks that slow with this one on your sentries. And here's your ultimate, which is literally just a global fire. It's pretty much global. It has the same range as Arcane Green Lantern and Atomic Wonder Woman. I would say this skill fires a lot similar to Arcane Supergirl's Q, where you cast the actual skill, and then you could either, I think you can hold the button down and release it to let it fire, or you can press it again and it'll fire. The same way that Arcane Supergirl's Q, you put the orb out and then you press it again to fire it. So this actually will fire regardless if you press it the second time. Obviously the same way with Arcane Supergirl's, but it goes where your cursor is after you press the R. So you press R for the initial cast, and then you kind of want to let go of it in the direction that you want it to go. And this took a lot of trial and error for me to figure out. So let's get into him real quick. Get a little footage going. Basic amplifier set I use is my power damage one. You can see that in my other video. If you're going top lane, you could take cameras, and I would take some kind of healing wave, probably cryptos for the extra sustain. For top lane, the great thing about this guy is you could play him anywhere. So if you were going support, I would take these as well. These are good support items. You obviously can be the primary damage dealer bot lane, but you would be building at the power damage, not attack damage, so you would make sure your ADC goes top. If you were doing that, I would probably exchange this with a shield of some sort, so probably Doom Shield. When playing him in the jungle, you can take this detonate, and the meteor drop is actually really good for him. So you get extra ganks there, and that works with his ultimate as well. As you get like a double AoE, global AoE drop. If you don't want to take this, say if you are playing him in the jungle and you still aren't really sure if you want to go that route, you could take a Consume, and I would take Stargirl's Consume for the extra power damage. or you can also switch this detonate out for atomic jokers, which will give you reduced cooldown
Power is to be
on the
exploited.
detonate,
Power
and that'll
is to
allow
be
you
used.
to
Launch in 10 seconds.
do quicker
Launch
clears
in
but less
5
damage.
seconds.
So then you got cameras, super strength, teleport, all that other good stuff there. Okay, so on Coast City, I actually start with ooh, they only want you to get modular 2 here. That's weird that they suggest that. That might be for the upcoming patch changes. Here's his dance.
Match begins in 30 seconds.
Hysterical animation. The money could use a little work, I feel like. I don't know where he's from that this money looks like this, but most of his other things are pretty lackluster.
Before you think of laying a finger on me, you should know that I have an army of lawyers on retainer.
Like, yeah, they're just voice line or whatever, but the animations are pretty weird.
I am the greatest mind of our
10
time.
seconds.
And then obviously you saw his dance. He just reeks of Steve Blum
Always
too.
one
Like
step
you
ahead.
can't get away from it.
Operational.
It's just sometimes I wonder if he just even voice acts or if he just talks. Like if the acting is literally just in the emotions
This
and
is the correct
everything.
course.
So a lot of people will start with his sentry
Jungle creatures.
at level 1.
Online in 10 seconds.
I think that W is the best to start at level 1 in terms of the first Coast City fight. There's going to be a lot of cluster and stealth pads, and you can just drop this on the enemy and it stuns them. So you can get like the whole team stunned in one shot, and that actually, that helps you. Stuns and any type of crowd control in the beginning will help you win those fights. So you can still start with the sentry. There's nothing wrong with that.
All according to plan.
Now, the sentries do get stealthed in the pads if there's nothing in range for them to shoot at.
It's time to make my move. Perfectly efficient.
Okay.
That wasn't
Now
business.
that we got all the skills, we
Personal.
could show off the link process. So between all your skills, the best thing to do is set up the links first.
I will.
So I'm gonna set this one up here, and as you can see, obviously nothing funny going on. It's a turret sitting there for 16 seconds and firing. Now I set this one up, and they become linked between that. Now this one's gonna disappear in a couple of seconds.
Always
So
calculating.
if I wanted to keep this middle one going, I pop that W, and now these two are on the same duration. And you can tell that the W was applied to both of them because they have this purple like spike going on in the front.
A decisive
Now
course of
when you
action.
hit, you see how they disappeared at the exact same time? It's because the duration for the middle one was reset to be on the same timer as all of them. So again, I can do this even without resetting. I can just use this. Look, see, heal it, and now they're all buffed up, even though that middle one was destroyed. So you get 3 buffed up basic attacks, and you can see that when they get that buffed up basic attack thing, the sentries actually they get like electricity
no
on
one
them.
crosses Lex Luthor.
So also, aside from doing straight line,
For a tactical withdrawal.
because all the turrets will link, you can do a triangle formation with 3.
Time for a
So you could do
hands-on
something
approach.
like put that one there. Oh, that's too close. Sorry. That one there, and then we could put this one
Perfectly
here.
efficient. My LexCorp satellites are in alignment.
And
Decisive
if I put
and
this
with
one here,
purpose.
it'll link all of them. So you can get a nice, like, if you stun them in the middle of this, it's just brutal.
Returning to base. En route.
So that's really pretty much it for him. I mean, you have your global ultimate, and then you get the initial fire, and then where do you want it to go? So like that.
This is a job for Lex Luthor.
So after you cast it a second time in the direction that you actually want it to go.
New power relay operational in 30 seconds.
Now, as you saw, I can use my Q as a skill shot to just poke out.
Give up. You're wasting my time.
Obviously, if it would have registered.
Repurposed.
That's your stun, and it also does damage over time. You see him taking that damage. And then you
No one
also
can stop
have this. You can use this to buff your turrets,
New power relay
or you can use it to poke. So, like that. That one doesn't apply the damage over time, though. Only this one's damage over
Nothing
time.
wasted.
And you can see him bleeding out. 48, 48, 13.
Flawless.
And yeah, that's pretty much it for him. I mean, to counter him, just make sure you're basic attacking those turrets because they only take 2. To show off a fully, this is what a fully buffed line should really look like. Once you hit the W and the E, they get like this staticky thing going on around them.
I've been waiting for this.
So like, that means the next 3 basic attacks that thing does is gonna do massive damage. So if you see a turret like that, I would stay away from it or try to take it out outside of its range.
Deploy.
And yeah, you could spam his ultimate to clear out most of the time. Like, you don't even need to use it. I mean, obviously it's best used as a last hit, but if you're like, if you have to return the lane and you just want to clear out real quick, like, you can just fire that across the map to clear it. Because if, as you see on the range, if you look at the mini map there, the range is pretty much across the whole map. So
Always one
if
step
I
ahead.
stand right here, I think I can, yeah, I can hit pretty much their second turret. Yeah, I could hit their base from here if I did that. You know, obviously if it did damage to the base, but it doesn't. So yeah, if you guys have any comments, questions, leave them in the comments rather. Let me know who you guys want to see next. I'm probably gonna do Aquaman next.
Turret destroyed.
So here's this poke, and then here's this poke. Alternatively, you can use them to buff up your towers. Come here. Lexi's gonna get you.
A new
You have been defeated.
Alright, well, that's all from me, guys. Let me know who you want to see next. I'm probably gonna do Aquaman next. Yeah, that's it. He's pretty standard. Outside of the sentry usage, you got your stun, your poke, your AoE from the links,
I will not be
and
denied.
then AoE obviously from the sentries is dealing damage.
It's time
And
to
yeah,
make my move.
play him wherever you guys want. If somebody tells you you can't play him in the jungle, tell them Nap said you're a fool. If somebody said you can't play him support, tell them Nap said you're a fool. And obviously nobody's gonna argue with you if you try to take him top lane. And I really want to know where that money is coming out of. It's being dispensed out of his hand? Like it's in his suit? Oh no, he's just holding a stack. It'd be funny if he had like equipment that shot money. But alright guys, that's Sexy Lexi.